All right, so I'm gonna look at the rune pages real quick. So we'll start just by creating a new rune page. Let's see, choose your path. Each rune page requires a selection of a primary and a secondary path. Each path represents a different playstyle. Your secondary path offers a subset of runes to complement your primary. Well, we'll just start at the beginning. Let's go ahead and get detailed descriptions. Select your runes. Runes provide a range of enhancements to your champion. Each primary path has unique keystone runes, which grant powerful effects. Select one rune to fill each slot. You can change the page's view type at the bottom. Okay. So first of all, this is where you put page names in. Ta-da! So in the precision tree, which is the tree we're in, the keystones are press the attack. Hitting an enemy champion with 3 consecutive basic attacks deals 40 to 180 bonus adaptive damage based on level and makes them vulnerable, increasing the damage that they take by 8 to 12% from all sources for 6 seconds. Seems good. Lethal tempo, 1.5 seconds after damaging a champion, gain 40 to 110% attack speed based on level for 3 seconds. Attacking a champion extends this effect to 6 seconds. And it temporarily allows you to exceed the attack speed limit, so that seems like it would be good on characters that want to attack really fast. Fleet footwork, attacking and moving builds energy stacks. At 100 stacks, your next attack is energized. Energized attacks heal you for 3 to 60, plus 0.03 bonus AD, and plus 0.2 AP, so it scales a little bit with your stats you can buy in-game. I think that's what that means. And grant 20% move speed for 1 second. 1 seconds. That's interesting. Wonder if that's a typo. Healing from minions is 20% effective for ranged champions. So it's sustain in lane, the rune, probably. Conqueror, this has changed a few times. This iteration of it, basic attacks or spells that deal damage to an enemy champion grant 2 stacks of Conqueror for 6 seconds, gaining 2 to 5 adaptive force per stack. It stacks up to 12 times, and ranged champions gain only 1 stack per basic attack. When fully stacked, heal for 9% of the damage you deal to champions. 6% for ranged champions. So it's back to its brawler iteration. And good for characters that want to kind of constantly be hitting things. Then you have overheal, basically the excess healing instead of doing nothing, gives you 10% of your max health as a shield. Looks like it actually enables allies to give it to you. It says shield is built up from 20 to 100% of excess healing from yourself or an ally. So if my AD carry had overheal and I was healing them with Nami, and I would do a little bit of extra healing, they would get a little bit of a shield, is what that reads as. Triumph. Takedowns restore 12% of your missing health and grant an additional 20 gold. This is a... it seems nice, but an additional 20 gold is like a melee minion. Presence of Mind. Damaging an enemy champion increases your mana regeneration. All energy users gain 1.5 energy per second instead. Takedowns restore 15% of your maximum mana or energy. So this would be good for characters that need large mana pools, or characters that are struggling with, like Kassadin, basically spending all of their mana. The third row here, Legend Alacrity, gains attack speed for every stack of Legend, You earn progress toward legend stacks for every champion takedown, epic monster takedown, large monster kill, and minion kill. So this one grants you attack speed. This one grants you tenacity. Tenacity is the rate at which you get out of most stuns, if that makes sense. And this one grants you lifesteal. Now, I think this one should be changed to Omnivamp if Omnivamp is going to still be a thing in the game, but that's just my opinion. Coup de grace, deal 8% more damage to champions who have less than 40% health. So this is good for finishing people off. Cut down, deal 5 to 15% more damage to champions based on how much more maximum health they have than you. So this is good for characters that don't have large health pools or aren't planning on buying a lot of items that increase their health. The bonus damage scales up linearly against enemies with 10% to 100% more max health than you. So characters like Scion and Cho'Gath, and I think there was someone else whose health scaled essentially infinitely. Cut down would be effective against them. This one is his Last Stand. It's very popular on Tryndamere and Olaf. Deal 5 to 11% increased damage to champions while you are below 60% health. Max damage gained 30% health. So the lower your health, the more dangerous you are. Next is the Domination Tree. Electrocute. If you hit someone with 3 separate attacks or abilities within 3 seconds, you deal bonus adaptive damage. It's got about a 25-second cooldown. This is usually good for burst assassins. So anything that wants to hit you 3 or 4 times and then back off. So even Annie is a good example, because what she wants to do is basically auto attack, use her passive stun on you, and then auto attack and then walk away. Or, QW and then auto and walk away. Characters like LeBlanc or your assassins like Talon can make good use out of Electrocute. Predator is one I'm not super familiar with. Basically, it makes your boots an activatable item, which gives you kind of a gimmicky movement speed thing. So it says gain increased movement speed, ramping up to 45% movement speed over 1.5 seconds while chasing enemy champions. After ramping up, damaging attacks or abilities to champions end this effect, dealing 40 to 120 bonus AD. And it scales with AP. This is bonus adaptive damage. And you can use it maybe once every minute and a half. Dark Harvest. I know this is particularly... it's used a lot in the ARAM game mode, because in ARAM, champions are more likely to get... to be low health. Essentially, it's an execute, I guess. It's probably not a good way to describe it. But technically, it's an infinite scaling thing. So Dark Harvest does 20 to 60 damage based on level, and then plus 5 damage per soul. You get your souls from damaging low health enemies, and then it has a 45-second cooldown, but if you get a kill or an assist, it resets. So in theory, in a normal game, you're probably not going to get enough to make Dark Harvest worth it. But in game modes that are like ultra rapid fire or all random, all mid, you fight a lot more often, and they can't avoid giving you Dark Harvest stacks just by choosing to farm minions and not fight you. Halo Blades comes in and out of popularity. You gain a burst of attack speed when you attack an enemy champion for up to 3 attacks. No more than 3 seconds can elapse between attacks, or this effect will end. The cooldown is 8 seconds, so it's good on characters with auto attack resets. and it much like the lethal tempo, allows you to exceed the attack speed limit. I think people are using this on characters like Tristana because you can Halo Blades, you can use sudden impact, and then you can either eyeball collection, or maybe there's some bigger benefit from one of these ward things these days. But I don't think I'm going to be playing anything like that. Not in this playthrough. I'm not at that level yet. Cheap shot. So damaging champions with impaired movement or actions deals extra bonus true damage. And it's got a 4-second cooldown. And it activates only on damage occurring after the impairment. So with Tristana, maybe what they're doing is Halo Blades into cheap shot, so when they rocket jump on somebody and slow them, which I believe is how that works. They're doing extra damage. Taste of Blood is the one I think I use probably most often. Heal when you damage an enemy champion. Healing is numbers based on level. Cooldown of 20 seconds. That actually might make me use it less. So this is the first time I'm really sitting down and reading through them. Sudden impact. After exiting stealth or using a dash, leap, blink, or teleport, dealing any damage to a champion grants you 7 lethality and 6 magic pen for 5 seconds. Let's see, zombie ward. Takedowns on enemy wards cause friendly zombie wards to sprout from their corpses. You gain an adaptive bonus of 1.2 attack damage or 2 ability power for every zombie ward spawned up to 10. After spawning 10 zombie wards, additionally gain 10 adaptive force. So zombie ward, it looks like it just gains you permanent AD, AP, and adaptive force. Ghost Poro. When your wards expire, they leave behind a Ghost Poro, which grants vision for 60 seconds. Nearby enemy champions scare the Ghost Poro away, so it leaves a lingering ward until something walks into the area. Gain an adaptive bonus of 1.2 attack damage or 2 ability power for every Ghost Poro spawned, and when your Ghost Poro spots an enemy champion, up to 10 stacks. So it looks like Ghost Poro would stack faster than Zombie Ward. If I'm being honest, I'd have to actually look and see if this stays with you. Let's see. Collect eyeballs for champion takedowns. Gain adaptive bonus of 1.2 or 2 per eyeball collected. So about the same. Upon completing your collection, gain 10 at 10 eyeballs. Additionally, gain adaptive bonus of 6 attack damage or 10 ability power. See, 10 adaptive force, 6 attack damage, or 10 ability power. I feel like that makes Ghost Poro and Zombie Ward just better than Eyeball Collection. I don't know. I have to look into it. I don't think we'll be using the domination tree for our support, but if I look at it, I'll look at it again when we get to our other lanes, when I get to playing them. Ravenous Hunter, Omnivamp, 0 to 1.5% per bounty hunter stack. You earn them the first time you get a takedown on each enemy champion. So what? Well, it's 1.5 times 5. 7.5. Ben can't math. I'm on a computer. Calculator. Go. It is 7.5. Ben can math. Let's see. So if you got a kill on every champion on the enemy team, you get 7.5% Omnivamp. That sounds good. Omnivamp is only 33% effective when dealing area of effect damage or damage through pets. So not as good on Heimerdinger, I guess. I'm trying to think of who else has pets. Malzahar. Ingenious Hunter. Gain 10 item haste, plus an additional 5 item haste per bounty hunter stack. So if you're doing a build that involves a lot of on-use items, this might be something to consider. Bounty hunter stacks are earned the first time you get takedown. So basically, this whole row should be when you get kills or assists on each individual enemy champion, you gain a stack up to 5, and they do the effect more. Relentless Hunter is movement speed. So you're just faster. Probably good for junglers. Or anyone who's trying to kind of pull the enemy team apart. So it's like split pushing, roaming, any of that stuff. Catching people out of positions. Ultimate Hunter, if your character is supremely reliant upon their ultimate, this might be a thing to consider. Your ultimate gains 6 ability haste plus an additional 5 ability haste per bounty hunter stack. So up to 31 ability haste? I don't know how that compares to items, though. I will have to eventually sit down and do some of this math. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to get an idea for these. Let's see. Summon Airy, damaging an enemy champion with a basic attack or abilities sends Airy to them, dealing 10 to 40 based on level, increased by your stats. Empower or empowering, I believe it's supposed to be, or protecting allies with abilities sends Airy to them, shielding them for 30 to 80 based on level, plus your AP. Airy cannot be sent out again until she returns to you. This is what I like on most of my supports. Anything that applies buffs, because that little tiny bit of shielding adds up over time, and it happens a lot. Arcane Comet, it just throws out a comet when you damage a champion with an ability. Or if it's on cooldown, hitting them with an ability will reduce the cooldown of Arcane Comet. Does 30 to 100 adaptive damage based on level, scales with your stats, and has a cooldown between 20 and 8 seconds. Cooldown reduction is less for area of effect and damage over time. Okay, important to know. Phase Rush, this is seen an awful lot of use. Hitting an enemy champion with 3 attacks or separate abilities within 4 seconds grants 25 to 40% move speed based on level and 75% slow resistance. Increased to 40 to 60 move speed for melee champions. Cooldown of 15 seconds. So this is used on a lot of characters you wouldn't necessarily think it would be used on, like Hecarim. And I'm not 100% sure why. I feel like you lose a lot in the rest of your runes, but if that movement speed is actually that valuable, I apparently have a lot to learn. Nullifying Orb. When you take magic damage that reduce your health below 30%, gain a shield that absorbs 40 to 120 magic damage based on level. Straightforward. Mana Flow Band. Hitting an enemy champion with an ability permanently increases your maximum mana by 25, up to 250 mana. After reaching 250 bonus mana, restore 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. Seems good. Nimbus Cloak. After casting a summoner spell, gain a move speed increase that lasts for 2 seconds and allows you to pass through units. Increase 5 to 35% move speed based on the summoner spell's cooldown. Higher cooldown summoner spells grant more move speed. Transcendence. You gain ability haste when you hit level 5, level 8, and level 11 on champion takedown. Reduce the remaining cooldown of basic abilities by 20%. That seems strong. Celerity. All movement bonuses are 7% more effective on you and gain 1% move speed. Absolute Focus. While above 70% health, gain an adaptive bonus of up to 18 attack damage or 30 ability power based on level. Grants 1.8 attack damage or 3 ability power at level 1. I don't know if that's ever worth it, when you could get just cooldown reduction instead, or movement speed. Scorch. Your next damaging ability hit sets champions on fire, dealing 15 to 35 bonus magic damage based on level after a second. Every 10 seconds. Water Walking is gain 25 move speed and an adaptive bonus of up to 18 attack damage or 30 ability power based on level when in the river. I don't know. That might be too situational. It's good for like Jungle Nunu, I think. So Jungle Nunu might go like Phase Rush. Something like that. and then just try and zoom out of the river. But I think it's unlikely that we use anything here for what we're doing as not as our primary tree. And if we do, it'd be summon Airy, something like this. All right. The Resolve tree. Grasp the Undying. Every 4 seconds in combat, your next basic attack on champions will deal bonus magic damage equal to 4% of your max health, heal you for 2% of your max health, and permanently increase your health by 5. For ranged champions, any permanent health gained is reduced by 40%. I guess that makes sense. Aftershock. After immobilizing an enemy champion, increase your armor and magic resist by 35 plus 80% of your bonus resists for 2.5 seconds. Then explode, dealing magic damage to nearby enemies. The damage is 25 to 120 based on level, plus 8% of your bonus health. And you can do it every 20 seconds. Resistance bonus from Aftershock capped at 80 to 150 based on level. Okay, that makes sense. You can't just stack and abuse it, I guess. Guardian, guard allies. Oops, sorry about that. Guardian, guard allies with 350 units, within 350 units of you, and allies you target with spells for 2.5 seconds while guarding. If you or the ally take more than a small amount of damage over the duration of the guard, both of you gain a shield for 1.5 seconds. The cooldown is 70 to 40 seconds. The shield is 70 to 150 plus 15% of your ability power plus 9% of your bonus health. I don't know what proc threshold is. Oh, that's how much damage they have to take before it goes off. 90 to 250 post-mitigation damage. That's good. I think it keeps it from going off on basically minion auto attacks. Unless you're taking a lot of them. Demolish is really popular for split pushers. Charge up a powerful attack against a tower over 3 seconds. While within 600 range of it, the charged attack deals 100 plus 35% of your max health bonus physical damage. It only is this only hurts towers. Font of Life, impairing the movement of enemy champions, marks them for 4 seconds. An ally champion who attacks marked enemies heals for 5 plus 1% of your max health over 2 seconds. So this is good for your Brahms, your Maokais, your Alistars. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Shield Bash. While shielded, gain 1 to 10 armor and magic resist based on level. Whenever you gain a new shield, your next basic attack against a champion deals 5 to 30, plus 1.5% of your bonus health, plus 8.5% new shield amount bonus adaptive damage. I'd have to sit down and math that out, but sounds like a Nautilus thing to me. Maybe a Shen thing. You have up to 2 seconds after the shield expires to use the effect, so that's nice. Conditioning, after 12 minutes, you just gain flat armor and magic resist, and increase your armor and magic resist by 5%. That sounds good. Second Wind is good for cases in which you're going to be poked a lot. So after taking damage from an enemy champion, heal for 4% of your missing health over plus 6 over 10 seconds. Bone Plating is good for not getting bursted. After taking damage from an enemy champion, the next 3 spells or attacks you receive from them deal 30 to 60 less damage. Cooldown of 45 seconds. It's good for not being bursted down by assassins, especially as a squishy support. So if I were playing Nami and I was worried that they had, 2 assassins, or I was worried about getting maybe blitzcranked, I might run something like this. We'll read the last bit real quick. Overgrowth. Absorb life essence from monsters or enemy minions that die near you, permanently gaining 3% maximum health for every 8. So you'll slowly gain max health. When you've absorbed 120 monsters or enemy minions, gain an additional 3.5% maximum health. So this is going to be fairly default on all of your I need to be a tank characters, probably. Revitalize. Gain 5% heal and shield power. Heals and shields you cast or receive are 10% stronger on targets below 40% health. Then there's Unflinching. Gain 10% tenacity and 10% slow resist. These values increase by up to an additional 20% tenacity and 20% slow resist based on missing health. The maximum value achieved is at 30% health. I've seen this, and I think I've used this before on Alistair, because you can get it as a secondary. So functionally, the thing you lose in all of these, when you choose it over here, you lose this first row. Let's go through the inspiration before I get too much into the weeds on that. So inspiration is the one we hadn't had access to before. It is, they say it's creative tools and rule bending. So basically, this is your shenanigans runes. Glacial Augment. Basic attacking a champion slows them for 2 seconds. The slow increases in strength over its duration. Ranged slow a little bit less than melee. Slowing a champion with active items shoots a freeze ray through them, freezing the nearby ground for 5 seconds, slowing all units inside by 60%. So this is good for... there's some Zillion support builds that run something like this. What is this? Cosmic Insider approach velocity is debatable. I'm not 100% on which one's better. But then he would run Cheap Shot, I think either Ghost Poro or Zombie Ward, depending, and then Ingenious Hunter. And you'd run something like that. It all just depends on kind of what you need. Cheap Shot makes you do more damage, so it might be better than Zombie Ward. Apparently you only get 2 out of 3 on the secondary. But the idea behind it would be you use Zillion to control space and slow melee champions. So things like Tryndamere, you drop your slow on them, you use your activatable items to slow them, like you just constantly making it a nightmare for them to do anything. If we didn't pick up Zillion, I think I might pick Zillion up really quick. Because sometimes you're just in the mood to be a Zillion. Alright, so Unsealed Spellbook. This is one I probably need to spend more time practicing, but probably not on support. You swap one of your equipped summoner spells to a new single-use summoner spell. Each unique summoner spell you swap to permanently decreases your swap cooldown by 25 seconds. The initial swap cooldown is at 5 minutes. Your first swap becomes available at 6 minutes. Summoner spells can only be swapped while out of combat. After using a swap summoner spell, you must swap 3 more times before the first can be selected again. So it's trying to make sure you don't just switch back and forth between Ignite and Teleport, probably. It's interesting. The game would have to last a really long time for you to get a lot of value out of that. Cooldown reduction on swapping. Prototype Omnistone periodically grants a single use of another random keystone. So this is only really going to be good on characters that can use all of the keystones. And even then, I think most players would argue that you're better off choosing a keystone and like learning to play that way. However, because Omnistone is random, you can catch your opponents off guard because they might not be ready for you to be able to both electrocute them and have Conqueror kind of in engagements that are back to back, if that makes sense. I need to find a better way of wording that, but I'm trying to think what to compare it to. I think in most cases, especially for a new player, I would suggest you are better off picking something and learning it. But if you have no idea what you want and you want to just kind of try stuff out, maybe Omni Stone is for you. In the next row, we have Hextech Flash Traption. While Flash is on cooldown, it is replaced with Hex Flash. Hex Flash you channel for 2 seconds to blink to a new location. The cooldown is 20 seconds and goes on a 10-sec cooldown when you enter champion combat. This can be used for a lot of little shenanigansy plays, and especially on characters that have hooks. You can kind of deceive them by flashing closer, and then you have a lot more range on the hook than they probably thought beforehand. Magical footwear. You get free slightly magical footwear at 12 minutes, but you cannot buy boots before then. For each takedown, you acquire the boots 45 seconds sooner. So you get free boots, which saves you 300 gold, but you can't get them for at most 12 minutes. And when you do get them, they're a little bit faster than regular boots 1. Perfect timing. Begin the game with a commencing stopwatch that transforms into a stopwatch after 14 minutes. Each takedown you acquire reduces this timer by 120 seconds. Stopwatch can be used for a one-time 2.5 second stasis effect. So it's a little mini Zonia's that breaks, and you can get it for free in the rule bending section, Inspiration. Futures market. You can enter debt to buy items. The amount you can borrow increases over time. The lending fee is 50 gold. The debt limit is 150 plus 5 per minute. Debt doesn't become available until 2 minutes. The Minion Dematerializer. Start the game with 3 Minion Dematerializers that kill and absorb lane minions instantly. Minion Dematerializers are on cooldown for the first 180 seconds of the game. Absorbing a minion increases your damage by 6% against that type of minion permanently, and an extra 3% for each additional minion of that type absorbed. I think I was watching a video by Pro Guides. It was one of their free ones that's on YouTube, where they talked about using that to help you last hit the caster minions as a mid laner. What's an interesting concept. I'm sure we'll try and use it eventually. This is the one that I use probably most. It's Biscuit Delivery. Gain a total biscuit of everlasting will every 2 minutes until 6 minutes. Biscuits restore 10% of your missing health and mana. Consuming or selling a biscuit permanently increases your mana cap by 50. Manaless champions restore 12% missing health instead. So it's not bad on characters that don't need mana. It's just not necessarily optimal. Cosmic Insight, you just flat out gain 18 summoner spell haste and 10% item haste. Approach Velocity, you gain 7.5% move speed toward nearby enemy champions that are movement impaired. This bonus is increased to 15% move speed for any enemy champions that you impair. Activation range for CC from allies is 1,000. So this is good on characters like Ashe because her auto attack's slow. So she would be gaining this, chasing people down permanently. Time Warp Tonic. Consuming a potion or biscuit grants 50% of its health or mana restoration immediately. In addition, gain 5% move speed while under the effects. I've seen far better players than I use this to great effect in top lane, where they'll start refillable potion, the corrupting potion, like the 500 gold version, and they'll use it to win trades, basically. And that is all of the runes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a generic Nami page. And save it. So we took Summoner Aerie, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence, Scorch, Cosmic Insight, Biscuit Delivery, 2 Adaptive Force, and an Armor. This is something that you should change regularly. based on the game you're in. And I will try to be good about that, but there's a chance that I just go with it. Something like that. And then we'll go straight into a draft pick. I'm going to make this its own video.